Hey everyone, Matt here with Mosif, and today we're going to show you how to use Mosif governance rules in order to control API access based on your customer's subscription status. We'll start by looking at the postpaid implementation, and then we'll go and look at how that's done for prepaid. Let's get started. So implementing these rules in Mosif is actually extremely easy to do. We've actually built some pre-built templates that allow you to do this in a matter of minutes. So once you've logged into Mosif, if you come over to Quotas and Governance, then in the top right here, you click Add New. The first thing that we want to do is for the postpaid, we want to make sure that if they have an inactive subscription, so that means that they've canceled, paused, or have an expired subscription, we can block them from accessing the API. So we'll click this Block Inactive Subscriptions. Then it's going to tell us that it's going to create a new cohort. Now this cohort is essentially just a group of users that fit this specific criteria. That's what actually drives the functionality in a governance rule in Mosif. So I'll click Continue. Then you'll see that we have this companies who have canceled or paused subscriptions created on 11/2 at 4:19 p.m. So this is the day that I've actually created this on. It just allows us to track it more easily in our drop down here. So if I actually click here, I'll do open a new tab. You can see here that this covers Stripe, Recurly, ChargeBee, and any subscriptions that are created in Mosif in terms of our custom billing providers. Based on that, you can see all of the users who fit this criteria currently. Now, if I come back to the actual governance rule itself, this stuff is automatically pre-populated, so apply to companies in above cohorts. So that means that anyone that belongs to this group who's canceled or paused a subscription is going to have this rule applied. Then you'll see that it's blocking, so it's actually going to block access. Then we're returning a 402 payment required. Now you can set this to whatever you'd like. You could set it to a 401 if you wanted to for unauthorized. And then we can also override the response body, so that error code, payment required, and then a message saying that the subscription is inactive, contact support. With this in place, this means that users' requests will no longer go to the upstream API. It'll actually be blocked at the SDK or the plugin level, and they will then be returned with this overridden response status and response body. Now this is currently active and ready to go. This is automatically going to start being applied to our Mosif SDKs and plugins so that it blocks that user access. Now another thing that we might want to do, if I come back to governance rules, let's say we have a prepaid credit system where folks are able to prepay and then use those tokens or credits. For that, what we're going to do is actually click on Add New, and here we can see Block on Zero Credit Balance. So we'll click this, and the same thing will happen as the last time that we created a rule, which this is going to create a new cohort called users with zero credit balance. We'll click Continue. You'll see that the cohort was created. Get rid of this. Then we'll see that it's going to be applied to that cohort, and you can see it's called Block on Zero Credit Balance. It's blocking, and once again, we're returning back a 402 payment required, but this time we have a different response. We have an error code with payment required, but our message says you don't have any remaining credits, please purchase more. You can override this on both of them. You can customize this response body as you feel necessary. The last thing that we're going to do here is actually put in a postpaid block so that when someone has an overdue invoice, they are then suspended from using this service. To do that, we'll click Add New again, and then you'll see here Block Unpaid Invoices. I will click on this. It is going to create a cohort for subscriptions with unpaid invoices. I'll click Continue. You can see that this is the cohort that is being applied to here. We have our rule called Block Unpaid Invoices. It's a blocking rule once again. 402 payment required. Response status is going to be returned, as well as this part here, which is your subscription has overdue invoices. Now we may want to quickly see what this cohort entails. To do that, if we come to the company cohorts, which you can expand here, and then come down to subscription with unpaid invoices. I'll click on that, And now you can see where metadata Stripe subscription status is unpaid, so if it matches that, or in ChargeBee, if the ChargeBee subscription due invoices count is greater than or equal to 1, then we will block their usage to these specific APIs. And with that, if we come back to our governance rules, we can see that now, from a monetization perspective, we are now blocking inactive subscriptions, blocking anyone that has a 0 credit balance for prepaid, and blocking unpaid invoices for anyone who's doing postpaid. And each of these are active, and in a few minutes there, we set up an entire governance structure around these monetized APIs. And that wraps up this brief tutorial on using governance rules in MOSIF to aid in API monetization. For more API monetization tips, tricks, and tools, check out our docs at mosif.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel, as we have lots more API monetization content coming your way. Thanks for joining.